Hey, Mario.
Luigi.
I don't know. I think like Mario transcends racism.
The white Italian guy transcends racism?
Yeah, in as much as, he's no longer just that. He's this like archetypal hero, that will save the princess. It's
Who's a
sort
white
of like,
Italian plumber.
Yeah, it's sort of like, Gilgamesh, not being of the I can't remember which nationality he came from.
No, I'm not going to either.
Okay.
I thought it'd be really cool that you threw it into
I
Gilgamesh.
thought that too. I wanted
That's
to say
a heck of a story. Good for you.
No, that just went down the toilet.
Oh,
Okay.
well, there you go.
Today, I thought we would start on a topic that is very dear to my heart, video games. But funny enough, without jumping straight into video games, let's go the complete opposite direction. And I want to read a little quote from Pope John Paul II in one of his encyclicals on work, Laborem Exercens. And he says, at the very beginning, through work, man must earn his daily bread and contribute to the continual advance of science and technology, and above all, to elevating unceasingly the cultural and moral level of the society within which he lives in community with those who belong to the same family. And work means any activity by man, whether manual or intellectual, whether its nature or circumstances. It means any human activity that can and must be recognized as work in the midst of all the many activities of which man is capable and to which he is predisposed by his very nature, by virtue of humanity itself. Man is made to be in the visible universe an image and likeness of God himself, and he is placed in it in order to subdue the earth.
Before you go any further, how good is it to read JP2 again?
It is amazing to be nostalgic and just delve into JP2. It's so dense, it's so complicated. He goes in circles in his explanations, but I love it.
It's incredible. He starts with his definition of work and then is somehow able to weave in the definition of man and the orders of man, and then finally that it's all about God.
Yeah.
Ends everything, right?
It's
just like the encyclicals and letters, a prayer to Mary. He's always bringing it back.
Absolutely.
Again and again. So what did you want to take out of this?
So what I want to take out of this is that whole image that we find in the first book of the Bible, the book of Genesis. God is the creator. God is the maker of the heavens and the earth. And he wants us to be in his image and likeness as co-creators, participating in that creation with him. Essentially, it's like, you're out in the garage and you're helping dad with something as a little kid. And, dad knows exactly what he's doing, but...
Well, you think he does.
You think he does. And, well, you think, yeah, absolutely, you think he does. But you want to help and you want to bring him a wrench or you want to do this or that, hold the light for him. And you participate in the creation or the fixing or the recreation of something with him. We can as well have that aspect of play in work. Like we can create things that are part of the world of play. We can create, stories, we can create art, we can create music that is work, but it also, rejuvenates us, entertains us, gives us sort of that spirit to enjoy creation itself.
So, yeah, and this speaks to the kind of work that we do, right?
Yep.
I recently read this document for a social justice class, and John Paul II goes on to talk about the kind of people that are employers and the kind of people that are employees, and that there's a relationship of justice between the two.
Absolutely.
Right? Up to the point where even when John Paul II was writing this, he's speaking of this movement in the world to accept disabled people into the workforce, right?
Yep.
And to create a space for them in so far as they can help out and that they have the right and the desire to do this work.
Exactly, to participate in creation itself, right? Work is not just, just a job. Work is part of the unraveling of creation, we're adding something to it. This is where I think we can sort of move into video games as, people make video games as work, and I think that's pretty awesome because you are building a story that people can enter into and not just like take in, but also as you're playing the game, you can be a co-creator in the story of how it unravels. So, the first game that comes to my mind is The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. You can play that game as any person you so desire, and you can make that story go wherever you want it to go.
Sure, yeah.
And you are creating the story, you're creating the history of the people in the video game and how that's going to affect everything. In that way, you're participating in the creation of, God's co-creation. I think that's amazing.
Well, you use the analogy of the creators as being the ones who develop the video games, and I think of sometimes the people who make the video games as me when I play Minecraft with my brother.
Yeah.
You have control within the rules of this game to either mine and get your resources or just have them on the bar on the bottom and build whatever you want. People can work together to recreate these incredible artifacts of mankind. Like if you've ever watched the top 10 boats or ships made,
yeah.
And then they have real recreations of like the HMS Victory that Horatio Nelson sailed with, right?
Pretty amazing.
And so they have these absolute recreations. When we were playing at one exam season, me and a couple of the seminarians, and we rebuilt the seminary.
Yeah, I was there
We
to
got
see
over
that.
halfway through the seminary, yeah.
Amazing.
We walked down the hallway and we said 1, 2, and we counted every step was another block. And then we walked down the whole hallway. I don't remember how many, like 110 steps down the one hallway. And then we placed 110 blocks of the different colors and then built the glass and the workout room. And we got most of the way through the chapel before we gave up because the chapel's circular and very long.
That's true.
It's got a round end on the back.
Yeah. So actually, this leads to my next question. Do you play video games as a Catholic in them? I don't know if you've seen this, but some people on YouTube play games as like different runs. So sometimes in a particular game, they'll try not to, so in like Mario, they'll try not to jump on any of the Goombas, right? And try to see how far they can get.
Yeah.
Do you think you can do that, or have you ever done that, playing as a Catholic, in a game that allows for that?
Yeah, when we built our first town in Minecraft, the first thing we built was the church, like the early settlers did.
Yeah.
They all come together and they build the church first, and it's small, and then when the city gets bigger, you rebuild another bigger one down the street. Kind of like every little town on the prairies, right?
Yep.
Traveling around, you look into a town and you go, where's the church? Main Street, every time. Where's the church? 5th Street, every time. Games like Skyrim, there's lots of choices, or games like The Witcher, you have all these choices. And even if it was made by Poles, who are, of course, very Catholic,
indeed,
there are certain moments in the game where you have no choice but to choose an un-Catholic option, right?
Yeah.
But it does engage. Good storytelling games like that engage with our moral compass.
Yeah.
They engage with our spiritual life, and we come into contact with different creatures, and we kind of fit them into the category of a moral agent, right? Like elves are moral agents, like people, even if they have a different disposition.
Yep.
Tolkien does this as well, right? And all the games that are based off of his story.
Well, that's actually, a good point, because I remember watching The Simpsons, and there's one particular clip of Rod and Todd, Ned Flanders' kids, trying to show off to Bart that, they have Bible games too. And it was just this little lame Atari shooter of, Bible man trying to convert the pagans. And I think it's hilarious, mind you. And I think at times, I almost have the question, could we make a Bible game that wouldn't be lame? Because when you look at, the story that is presented in the Old Testament and the New Testament,
it's pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
And I think it's something that could be really beautifully artistically made, and the moral choices that have to be done. It's it's pretty heavy stuff in there.
Maybe that's why someone hasn't done it yet.
Probably.
Probably.
I mean,
because there's a temptation to trivialize too, right?
yeah.
There's always a temptation to trivialize. But we have all these movies coming out along this same theme, right? I remember going to see Noah with a priest of the formation team and a couple of seminarians, and I hadn't read the Book of Enoch before.
Yep.
So I didn't quite know where all this was coming from, other than it came from the Book of Enoch, but I certainly read the Book of Enoch afterwards. And of course, not part of our canon, but a part of the tradition that opens up this world that could be articulated in this.
I like to see it as
creation.
Jewish fan fiction.
Oh, goodness.
Like, the Bible is, the main book, but they write their little fan fiction stories, like just expanding on these characters, and I think that's amazing. So, probably not the most academic way of describing it, but that's how I like to think about it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the website Pop Church?
No.
I haven't. Church Pop, that's what it is. Okay, I'm really dating myself. Have you seen the website Pop Church? And it's a fun little...
Church Pop.
Is it? Did I repeat that? Okay.
Yeah, exact same thing.
Well, have you seen the website Church Pop? I said
Pop
it correct.
Church.
Oh, don't do this to me, man. Don't do this to me. Got to be kind to your brothers.
Church Pop.
Church Pop. Anyways, that website has fun articles, and sometimes they do these little top 10 lists and everything. But they also have this one little category that has 2 Catholic video games. And one is playing as a Franciscan, and the other one is playing as a Benedictine trying to convert people. And it's sort of like that Bible, the Simpsons sort of knockoff thing. But I think it's something that we should actually look into more. I remember just even the other day we were chatting with a friend who was playing Civilization 6, and he had the choice of, which religion is he going to follow. And, we cheered when he first mentioned, Catholicism, and then
he said there's better bonuses in Buddhism. Changed it over.
But I think that's, another thing. Like, what do you think of religion being presented in video games? I mean, I think there's that deficiency in some, because they don't really get it as, you're supposed to get it. They sort of almost see it as a cultural thing, not anything of great significance.
And sometimes it's almost best to treat it that way if they're going to try to cover everything. Yeah. Right? So maybe it is best that sometimes we have
I know,
variety
but I'm just
games.
saying, it would have been nice if Assassin's Creed and that whole franchise wasn't really, so anti-Catholic.
Yeah, maybe highlighted some of the good people in that time. Has there ever been a game that I turned off once I started it? I just said, no, that's enough. I don't think so. But I think it's because I've always kind of screened the games, or my parents screened the games that I played, and then I started screening the games that I played.
Yeah, you've tried to make sort of good choices.
The one that I did, I tried to play God of War on time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's huge, and there's a new one coming out. I got maybe 5 hours into it, and it wouldn't grab me. It wouldn't grab me the way in which gore was edified and the way in which the monsters were beaten. And I don't remember. It was a few years ago, but that one I definitely turned off. Yeah.
Although I wouldn't classify it as a high art, it is a piece of art now in the modern world. You see Mario in the last 30 years almost depicted everywhere. Like, if for some reason our civilization just ended today and archaeologists came, 500 years later, digging up
They're digging up houses, and then they find the box with all the Mario characters.
Exactly.
The
they would
amiibos,
say,
right?
They would say, Mario must have been this great hero that, saved the princess.
Mario!
Yeah, absolutely, right? Well, thanks for wasting time with us. If you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe, and send us a comment, and we'll see what we can talk about.